Alright guys, been a while since I've done a video of projects. We're going to do something today. I only have a few hours to, actually only a couple hours to work tonight. But I've been making herb choppers. Alright, starting with a file. This is actually, I don't know, it used to be about that long. I've made 4 of them out of here already. So I'm going to get one more. I believe one more easily, and then we'll see what we can do with the rest of this. That's the idea. Make an herb chopper out of a nice heavy file. Gives it a lot of good weight. Very good edge. A couple of things. The lady that lives behind me, she moved back in for the summer. So if I move, you might actually be able to see her staring at me. She watches me, takes pictures sometimes. It's weird. She was just back there. I don't know if she's there anymore, but it freaks me out, man. Gotta get a shot. I really gotta get a shot. Holy cow. Freaky. Alright, now we get to work. So there's really not a whole lot tricky about this. And what we're going to do is I'm going to step up about an inch of this. Because when I get done, I want a handle that comes up and around. Alright, so I'll start on this end. We'll step it up a little bit. And then we'll bring the front part down. So about an inch, a little less than an inch is all you need for steel. It really is. Something like that. You don't want it to round over, so you keep working it. Bring it up. Now when I get done, I like to have some of the teeth in there because the end customer, I think it attracts them to that, because you can see that you gotta be careful. You can't go too rustic and beat up, because then it looks like garbage. But I think they like to see that it was something else and now it's being used for something they want. Bring that up a little bit more. When I get done, that handle will be out here, and we'll curve that up and give them a little bit of a handle. Fine tune it once we get the rest of the shape. So what we're going to do now is going to nip off just about 3 to 4 inches of this. Alright, so we're going to go for about 4 inches overall. By the time I stretch it out, I think 3.5 will be fine. And right about there. You got to be kind of clean about this. Because we want it to look good. If you're not clean, then you end up with like a cut that comes off at an angle. So you want to definitely cut both sides. By doing that, I mark the ends on that first cut, so I can definitely line that up and go to town with it. Back around, we're almost there. There we have it. There we have the base. Alright, now what we're going to do now is start to shape this thing up a little bit. And again, I'm trying not to hit all of the file marks on the top. So I'm just going to pull out this bottom. What that'll do is give me a nice curve here, and I can play that curve over here a little bit. But that's it. I'm just going to pull out that bottom. Because when I get done, I do want this thing to be a bit rounded on the bottom. Nice heat on that one. A lot of times when you're drawing out a knife, you don't want that curve, and it becomes a problem, but in this case, I want it. So I'll let the steel do the work. It's really not a hard project, but it makes an awesome tool for the kitchen. It really does. And then just like the blade, especially as you get close to finishing it off, get as much of that crap off of there as you can. That doesn't look too bad at all right there. I think that's exactly what I'm going for. Again, it's not a big deal. You got to imagine where that blade's going to be, and you leave yourself enough steel to grind it down. I'm going to turn this thing around now and finish up this handle, I think. Alright, we'll just go ahead and start shaping up this handle. So give us enough length. quite honestly, I don't have it down to a formula yet. You can see that that's definitely longer than this side would be. So now I need to have about the same length, maybe an inch or more, and then enough up for the rise. So I'd say another inch, inch and a half. And we're getting pretty darn close with it, I'll tell you. As close as I need to get. Now, I like to keep this square. It just kind of looks better. So I'll bring that end down flat. I still want to put a scroll on the end, but it's not going to be a round piece, it's going to be a square piece. I want it pretty thin so you can get that scroll in there. And then at black heat, I like to go down through now and put in my rounded corners. Because it is a handheld item, we definitely want to soften those, which you can do on the grinder. But as much as I do cheat with the grinder, I try to do as much as I can on the end. I think it makes it a little bit more legitimate. So we got some nice soft corners there. I'd say the forging part for now is done. Now what I need to do is take this in on the grinder, give it all the shape that it needs, get a rough grind on it. I like to do that before I put the handle back. Once I like the rough grind, I'll go ahead and bend the handle. We'll heat treat it, finish grind it. Especially because this thing started off as a hard, really hard file. I like to go ahead and normalize this a little bit. Clean this off a couple of times to just let it cool on its own to get this. We kind of abused it. So we'll just let that cool down a little on its own. We'll do that like 2 or 3 times. While we're waiting for that to normalize, went out and bought some gloves with actually a brand name on them. 3 days. 3 days. I'll tell you one thing, in addition to blacksmithing and shoemaking, I didn't tell you about the shoemaking, but in addition to that, I'm going to design a blacksmith glove for you guys, and we are going to start selling those. I know exactly what I need to do to keep these things from falling apart, and I'm going to make something worth having. I hate to slam that one, but 3 days. Alright, the first thing we're doing is we're going to clean this up. Alright, so we'll put in this nice curve here, get everything as clean as possible. You can see why when you're hammering you want to be careful, because you end up with those indentations, and that's all a lot of grinding. So it takes it shows your smithing ability, so you want to do the best you can to keep that flat. In actuality, this isn't too bad. I'm going to finish it up, I'll come back. Alright, we got her cleaned up, 2 grits on it, got the rough bevel in. I'm a little bit not liking this much roughness here, but quite honestly, when I get done, that'll buff up and that'll look kind of nice, I think, when we get done. It might actually look even better than that one. Smooth the parts down that I'm not going to have access to. So I'm going to bend this handle now, but I'm not really going to have access to clean this inside corner up. So I got that exactly where I want it to be, nice and soft, nice shape to it. So the next step is heat the handle, bring it around and bend it, and then we'll go ahead and harden the edge. Temper it just a little bit, not much, because I want this to be like a razor sharp item. Come back to the grinder, put the finished grind on. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do before I do it, so you know what's going to happen. Right here, where am I? Right here, I want that to come back at a 90. So I got a lot of bending to do in that, and then once I have it coming straight up, then I'll go ahead, maybe not quite a 90 with this one, but I want it to bend there. And what happens if I heat this handle, the handle will want to bend, and I'll end up having my curve way out here. So I'm heating the main part of the blade. I'm going to put that in a vise like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and get that first angle on that handle. Here we go. So I'm going to just drop that in the vise, close as I can, not super tight. Use a piece of wood to protect the edge. Just force that bend in where I think I want it to be. I like that. And that allowed me to get a nice tight bend right up there in that corner. which you couldn't have done just by pounding it over. You kind of needed that extra heat in the main part of it to do that. Alright, now I can go ahead and start shaping this thing the way I want it to be shaped. And again, this is freehand at this point. Don't have a set formula, whatever the piece wants to be. I kind of like how that's looking already. I want everything to be pretty straight, and you're going for something that you can grab a hold of. So I'm going to bring this back out just a little. Just a little bit more. Yeah, I like that. What that'll allow me to do now is put a bit of a curve in that top, give it a little bit of a swoop. And now we can go ahead and figure out where we want that down to start happening. I'm liking that. I'm liking that a little bit. And again, we're just going to give it a nice clean look. I like it. I like it, and all I'm going to do now is put a little tail on the end. I think it'll be good. Just give that a little bit of a curly cue. That is the signature of blacksmithing, I think. That and twists. A little curly cue on the end, and I like it. It looks pretty good. It looks nice and organic. Looks like it'll fit in somebody's hand well. We'll put it on the vise and just kind of straighten up that handle. See how it's cocked to one side a little. And then come back and heat treat this. Here we go. I didn't hear anything cracking, so that's good. And I think we did pretty good. I think we did pretty good. Hard as hard can be. And again, because I didn't harden the handle and the back part of the blade, I'm not even going to temper this, because I want this thing to be super hard. It's not going to be thrown. It's not going to be prying apart, splitting wood, that kind of stuff. It's going to be used for chopping herbs. So I think keeping that as hard as possible, nice razor type edge on there, is what everybody's after. So we're going to clean that up. I'll come back and show you the finished product. Alright guys, here she is. She had a little sunlight. Hey, you can see a little sunlight in there. So we cleaned her up nice. We really want it clean, but it does mean that it's not going to be rough in some spots. And I kind of like that. This is the side that I was a little worried about, and it came out pretty good. There's a lot of texture in there, and I like to use the choppers like this. That texture is actually very handy. Some people use it like this in a rocking motion. So got a nice, clean, very, very, very sharp edge on there, and that edge should stay sharp for a long time. Let's give it a go. In the spirit of dandelion season. I'd say that sucker works pretty good. Whether you're chopping or just cutting, like they say, the rock motion, it's just perfect. Beautiful, beautiful thing. This one took me a little longer than normal. I haven't done one in a while. About an hour, I would say, from start to finish, grinding and polishing and all that kind of stuff. So there you have it. It's not the most exciting project in the world, but it is a very cool product, and people like this. I mean, it's something that people use, and I'm really trying to get as many products that people use. And there's a lot of ornamental things and a lot of things that sell really well, but part of my personal issue with the way the world's going and plastic and all that kind of stuff, I'm trying to find items that people can use and make them affordably. 1 hour I can sell this and still make a halfway decent living with an hour's worth of time. So there you go. Out of a heavy duty file herb chopper. Till next time, take care.